Hello and welcome to another episode. As the title suggests, today we are looking at the 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLC. Now the GLC made its debut in the UK back in 2015. However, the class of car did exist way before that in various parts of the world in the form of the GLK. Given the popularity and the rise of SUVs, it didn't take much convincing for Mercedes-Benz to bring this car to the UK in the shape of the GLC. This day and age, if you are a car manufacturer and you don't offer 2 to 3 different variants of SUV or crossover SUV-esque type of models, you simply cannot survive in today's market. So not only is it a very important car to offer, it's imperative to get right. So that's exactly what we're going to find out in today's video. We're going to find out what's new, what's not, what's good and what's not, and just give you an overall verdict on one of the most important cars at the brand. This is Ken from Mercedes-Benz Hertfordshire. Massive thank you to them for supporting this channel and for loaning us the GLC. So if you guys want to know more about the car or arrange a test drive or indeed buy one,
come and see us, come and speak to us. Now, Gok, it's great to see you back where you belong with a massive 3-pointer star in front of you. The GLC is a car that both you and me have spent loads of time with in its previous generations. So we've got to find out, does this pick up where the old one left off?
Well, I'm very, very interested in finding that out because, well, I'll tell you more in the video why. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
See you guys in the car. The GLC has, without question, been one of the best sellers at Mercedes-Benz. Its smaller proportions to that of a GLE has made it more appealing to the masses, and the good level of standard equipment made it incredibly good value for money. Something which perhaps we struggle to get in this current climate, but I'll get to more on that a little bit later. The success of the GLC shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. It carries one of the most important letters at the brand. In fact, without the C, Mercedes is just, well, Mercedes. I worked for Mercedes for almost 10 years, and during my stint there, I was in sales. And one thing I could guarantee you was if anyone walked in on a GLC, you simply had to greet them, be nice, be courteous, be professional, sit them down, and they would eventually talk themselves into a deal when it came to the GLC. It was very streamlined. You picked the engine, you picked the trim, and you picked either a standard car, a premium, or a premium plus. And that pretty much was your whole lot. Yes, there were some standalone options like intelligent lighting system, running boards, night pack, 360 camera, driving assistance pack, and for a very, very limited time, heads-up display. Not only that, but you knew that you had folding mirrors, parking sensors, reversing camera, Artico leather, dual zone climate control, automatic headlights, automatic windscreen wipers, satellite navigation, Bluetooth, powered tailgate, all as part of the standard equipment. And I'm sure there'll be some owners out there who will disagree with me, but for the most part, the C-Class family and consequently the GLC has and is a very reliable car. You see, all the teething issues that came with the C-Class arrived in the shape of the saloon 12 months prior. Never in my history working for Mercedes where I sold a GLC did I have any GLCs with any significant problems. There may have been the odd recall here and there, but that was pretty much it. And I'm aware that GLCs went through a patch of having this crabbing issue, but GLCs are not alone in that. I had a Panamera a couple of weeks ago and that did the exact same thing. So I'm a little bit on the fence as to whether that was any fault with the car or whether it was simply just a characteristic of the four-wheel drive, the tyres and the systems, all that kind of stuff. So, but like I say, for the most part, very reliable car. And I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say nothing backs up your statement like putting your money where your mouth is. And here it is, the 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLC 350d AMG line Premium Plus. Not just any 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLC 350d AMG line Premium Plus, but our 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLC 350d AMG line Premium Plus. Yep, we own one. This particular one is powered by a 3-litre turbocharged diesel V6, and if you missed the beginning of this part, it of course has the Premium Plus pack. It also has a few extra options such as the driving assistance package and bizarrely heads-up display. On the exterior, other than the running boards, everything is pretty much standard. So it doesn't have the upgraded wheels, doesn't have the night pack, and unfortunately for me, it doesn't have the intelligent lighting system. But of course, this was a used car when we bought it, and it done about 8,000 miles a year in its life, and it was in amazing condition. It had full service history. I've got CD player, I've got command, I've got full satellite navigation, I've got the Burmester surround sound system, and I'm yet to experience a better sound system in any car. If you're buying a Mercedes or a Porsche, just make sure it's got the Burmester surround sound system. If you're into music, if you like listening to music on your drives, just have that option. Make sure you get that option. I've got heated, electronically adjustable memory seats. I've got glass panoramic sunroof. I've got folding mirrors. I have blind spot assist, leathers, dual zone climate control, reversing camera. It has everything that we need. Of course, the Premium Plus package evolved over the years, and Mercedes-Benz did some jiggery-pokery in terms of what the options entailed. But for the most part, like I said, other than intelligent lighting system, 360 camera, air suspension, which, we could live without, this ticked all the right boxes. So which options did Mercedes-Benz decide to keep, and which did they decide to scrap? Some of my favourite features have been passed down from the last generation, including the keyless entry, the Burmester surround sound system, and something that's now part of the premium pack and upwards is the intelligent lighting system, which evolved into the multi-beam LED headlights in the facelift and is now called digital light. All the same thing, and I've gone on about this in my last two videos, in the Audi Q4 and the Porsche Panamera, about the intelligent lighting system, the Matrix LED headlights, and I still stand by it. If, like me, you live out on the sticks or you do a lot of nighttime driving on the motorway, for example, you're going to love it. Some of the features that unfortunately haven't made it to this latest generation include the gesture control for the boot lid, which basically meant that you could wave your foot underneath the bumper and then the boot lid would open. Handy for when you had large items to put in there and your hands were occupied, or taking things out and then having the boot closed. For some reason, that's no longer available. Perhaps it's a chip issue, or maybe it's something they'll reintroduce later on down the line in a model year update. Right, I suppose that's enough nostalgia. Let's talk about what's new. Everything, in short, other than the model designation, it being called a GLC still, everything is brand new. The latest offerings from the petrol and diesel and hybrid variants from the current C-Class saloon are available in the GLC, with the added benefit of 4MATIC, of course, this being the SUV. The most significant change, I'm sure you'll agree, is probably the interior. I have done the review on the new C-Class, so I'm somewhat familiar with the layout of the new C-Class, but as you would expect, it is vastly different to the outgoing model. I like the fact that they've got rid of the black piano finish on the center console. They've still kept the waterfall design on the center console here, which I think's aged very well. I think the interior on the older GLCs and the C-Class looks great, but they've replaced it with this sort of faux carbon fiber weave look, which is the same material, but if you have any light scratches or scuffs on this, it's not going to be as noticeable as it was and as it is on the black stuff. The interior cabin layout has become the stable feature in all new Mercedes. The 11.9-inch tablet-style infotainment screen is the main event, as well as the instrument cluster. It's all wrapped around in much nicer materials than the ones found in the previous generations. I also like the fact that the running boards are now much slimmer, thus making it easier to step out of the car. Let's talk about some of the engine highlights. In here we have the 300D, which is a turbocharged 2-litre 4-cylinder diesel engine, and it's up on power by 21 brake horsepower from the last generation 300D. And what do you get with that extra 21 horsepower? You get 0.3 of a second faster 0 to 62 mile an hour time. You also have 14 brake horsepower from the mild hybrid system, which also runs the start-stop technology, which in a diesel, under normal circumstances, it being diesel, you feel the start-stop a lot more when you're, in stop-start traffic. Whereas in this, because it's the electric motor that's doing it, it can be a bit unsettling because it does it very quietly and very smoothly. So on a few occasions, I had to really listen intently to see if the engine had started back up again, which is a good thing. And although you're up on power, which would generally suggest to the detriment of the economy, to the contrary. Claimed figures suggest a 20% improvement from the last generation GLC. Having now driven the car for a few hundred miles, I could tell you it's a lovely combination of grunt and economy. I've been driving today for 34 miles, averaging 39 miles an hour, and I've averaged 49.5 miles to the gallon. So what about the size of the new GLC? Although it's 6 centimeters longer than the outgoing model, from door to door the width remains the same. In fact, from mirror to mirror, this new one is 2 centimeters slimmer, and I'm confident that has something to do with the way that the new mirrors have been designed. More importantly, an area which has benefited the most from the increase in size is the boot. 70 litres more in its natural position and 40 litres more with the seats folded down. But what does that all translate to in the real world? I devised the simple task of moving whatever was in the boot of our GLC and put it into the new one. Although it might not look it, I can tell you that it was a lot less crammed and I didn't need to do any jiggery pokery to fit everything in. Although the difference wasn't huge, it was still noticeable. Ride. Now, one thing worth noting that the new GLC doesn't have air suspension, and nor is it an option. At £65,000, you should really have air suspension. You know, you're going into that luxurious segment. I mean, look, the ride is fair. It's nice, it's quiet, it's refined. The brakes don't let anything bad come in through the feel when you apply the brakes. Doesn't matter what surface you're on, it's completely numbed. And the steering is similar. Now, in a sports car, that may not be a good thing because you want to feel everything, you want to connect with the car. But this car is obviously all about comfort, refinement, luxury, safety. So, and part of that is you don't want any of the nasty stuff to come into the cabin. So that's all very nice. I just feel like air suspension would have just made it, put it in a different, just up the class. You know what I'm saying. It is, however, part of the standard equipment when you buy the plug-in hybrid version, but we'll get into more of that a bit later on. We are driving through a rough bit of tarmac here, and normally there is a lot of road noise, but actually the GLC does very well at drowning out all the sound. It's heavier than the last car, if I've got it right, by about 170 kilograms. And again, I feel like air suspension would have just helped disguise that weight a little bit more when you're driving around some of the country roads. The one thing we haven't addressed is what you get for £65,000 exactly. So let's start with what's under the bonnet. Up front you have a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine which gives you 266 brake horsepower. Mated to that is a 9-speed automatic gearbox feeding through to all 4 wheels thanks to the 4MATIC system. Starting with the exterior, we've got the digital lights up front, we've got parking sensors at the front as well as at the rear. We've got a 360-degree camera, folding mirrors, which also houses the little warning triangles to let you know that there's someone in your blind spot. And up top, we've got the panoramic glass sunroof. On the interior, starting from here in the driver's zone, we've got the heads-up display. You've got cruise control, automatic headlights, automatic windscreen wipers. You've got electric seats with memory function. Can also be heated. You've got MBUX with Hey Mercedes, so you've got full satellite navigation and the integration of Apple CarPlay, leather seats, Burmester surround sound system, powered tailgate, lane keeping assist, dual zone climate control for the passengers in the rear, a wireless charge pad, 2 cup holders and 3 USB Type-C slots up at front, and ambient lighting. In terms of tech, well, hold on to your seats. If you love tech, you're going to love the new GLC. Yes, you've got MBUX with Hey, what's its face? Oh hell, let's just say it. Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
It's too cold in here.
I'm increasing the temperature to 20 degrees.
And with each update, it's getting smarter and smarter. It's an it, right? I mean, we can't say
In order to use online functions, what would you like to do? I'm sorry.
I absolutely love the heads-up display because A, it's huge, B, the graphics on it are wicked, and C, it's so sharp for a heads-up display. I mean, I've got it in mind, which is a very, very rare option, but it's nothing like this. At the moment, I've got it in off-road mode, so I can see how much the car's tipping, see if it's at like a slope or not, and a compass in the middle, and how high we are, along with speed limit and the current traveling speed. None of which I need, but it just makes it look like a fighter jet cockpit, so I love it. And you can customize it as well. You just simply hit the home button, scroll up, and you've got eco display, you've got off-road mode, you've got the standard one, which will just show you your speed and the speed limit, and then you've got the sport thing, which basically gives you a rev counter with some red graphics, which are quite cool. And then you've got a minimal one, which just simply shows you your speed. And if you're not a massive fan of the heads-up display, then don't worry, and I appreciate it comes part of the Premium Plus pack, but I have found a very good alternative use for that space. Perfect. We've got Apple CarPlay, which is completely wireless now, so that's very familiar for anyone that uses iPhones. You've got your Apple Maps, you've got Messages, ChargePoint, you've got Ringo parking app, Spotify, Apple Maps, Waze, Zoom. Don't know why Zoom's there, but it is. And what I like is that you can have this split screen, so you can have your navigation and the music that you listen to, which I find very handy to have then, because you don't have to worry about going into different menus to control different things. The most important things you're probably going to want to control while you're driving is your music and or navigation. Obviously, as we know, the climate control always lives at the bottom of the screen here. I'm still a bit gutted that it's just not physical dials and buttons, but I think I'm making my peace with it. And something else worth noting, when you go into the home and you go into apps, there are some games you can play, which is handy if you have a hybrid. While you're charging, you can just play some games, or if you're just sitting in traffic or on a ferry and you have some friends, yeah, you can play games on MBUX. There's also a vast level of customization that you can do in the instrument cluster in front of the driver, such as the classic display, the sport, navigation, or the understated look. And the one thing which for me is an absolute no-brainer and feel like every car should come with it, and it's really then down to whether you use it or not, is dash cam. Now it appeared first on the A-Class, but then it got taken away, I think, because of some EU laws and all that kind of malarkey, but now it's back and it's there, and I have made a separate video showing you guys how to work it. If you want to watch that after this video, I'll put the link up here. Have I got that right? That corner. What else can I tell you about the tech? Then you've got the typical Mercedes stuff, a million different color combinations when it comes to ambient lighting. We've got fingerprint recognition, which is helpful if you have multiple users. You can easily just log in. I wonder if at some point they're going to use that fingerprint recognition system to be able to start the car. That could work, couldn't it? You jump in, scan your fingerprint, and then you can start the car. And if you don't, the car won't start. A bit like an iPhone. What would be the problem in that? You can put it in a valet mode for when you take the car servicing and stuff like that, I guess. That could totally work. You have this off-road menu, which again tells you where you are in the world using some satellite coordinates, which direction you're facing, your elevation, and tire temperatures. And then you have some more menus within that. You've got engine data, how much horsepower you're using, the temperature of your oil, temperature of your engine. And when you do want to take your car off-road, you have this camera mode, which gives you an invisible bonnet, so you can see what's going on underneath you. Just make sure you don't go over any steep rocks or anything like that, or any craters in the road, because that's what they are. They're craters. They are not potholes. Pothole is a small hole. Ones that we find on our roads today are craters. Oh. It does, of course, only work at low speeds, but you can just about see using what can only be described as witchcraft as to what's going on around you. You want tech, it's got it. And it doesn't stop there. The GLC now offers pre-entry climate control for the first time in an internal combustion engine other than the G-Wagon. The digital light also offers projection features to help aid with nighttime driving by projecting information onto the road surface. And other than the simple commands, MBUX can now tell you when your service is due, as well as how much further you can go before needing to refuel. If you are enjoying this video, guys, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. I'll endeavour to answer all your questions and queries, and most importantly, please don't forget to subscribe. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers. It would mean the world to us if we got there. So we are on Instagram as well, but Instagram is just... It's great to see Mercedes-Benz offering a choice of different colours when it comes to leather as well as paintwork, but the options are still very much in packages of a standard car, a premium or a premium plus. This does mean that the options list is a bit more streamlined for customers as well as the manufacturer when it comes to reselling, etc. But it does limit the customers when it comes to individualization, because it means that if there's one option that you really want and it just so happens to be in the premium plus pack and you're at premium, for example, you have to pay £5,000 to upgrade to the premium plus pack, even if it is just like the one option. From my model to the facelift to this, there is a clear step up when it comes to luxury. There's no denying that, and I think the price will divide opinion. I'm not here to tell you whether the car is worth £65,000 or not. That's a decision I think you need to make for yourself. But for me, I think this class of car, even at the top end, should have been around the £55,000 to £60,000 mark, somewhere in that sort of region. I just feel like £65,000, and I know it's only a few years ago, but that would have got you a GLE. And in the last few months, the GLE's now had a facelift, and that's jumped up another £10,000 to £15,000. So obviously, the difference between the cars, price-wise, has now remained the same. The goalposts have changed. It's no secret that the car market has changed significantly over the last few years when it comes to pricing. Cars are now a lot more expensive. Deposit contributions are few and far between. Interest rates have gone up. Used cars have even gone up because of stock availability, and the price of metals, raw materials have gone up. So that's obviously just had a natural knock-on effect. So maybe it is the right sort of money for this car. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I really like the proportions of the GLC, which is essentially why we bought one. It's big enough as a family car, got loads of tech, got all the luxuries that we could ever need, and it's safe, which for a baby is of course paramount. Its all-weather capabilities and high driving position makes it an easy car to drive on a day-to-day basis. So when you look at it as an all-rounder, it ticks all the right boxes. And when you look at the new one, it's definitely up there in its class. And that, guys, pretty much brings me to my last point, which is the question of what's wrong with the new GLC. From a car point of view, not a lot. There's a few things that I would tweak and change, but for the most part, it's a Mercedes GLC, and it's an evolution rather than a revolution. So for me, it comes down to the price. I've been around the block long enough to know that yesterday's price isn't today's price, let alone 6 years ago price to today. The car that we own, when that was new, that was just under £53,000, like 52.7, something like that. You're looking at a nearest makes no difference, £15,000 swing in about somewhere between 5 to 6 years, and that is a huge jump. And or you're just getting a slightly better car. You're looking at £2,500 a year price jump. And if you wanted to do your bit for the planet and go for the plug-in hybrid version, you're looking at £75,000. Yeah, and that's the only thing that's let it down for me. You know, I would love to upgrade our GLC to a newer one, but at 65 grand, there's no way that I can justify it. I mean, mine has a CD player, this doesn't. I have gesture boot, this doesn't. So if anything, mine's a higher spec. On a serious note, coming to you as a GLC customer, I don't know if I can justify buying a new GLC right now. Our car is about to move over to the cheaper road tax after 5 years of £500 plus to £140 a year. And the fact that I'm not gaining much more than what I already have, coupled with the new price, as I say, I just can't justify it. We've bought this GLC because to us it was unbelievably good value for money. And that's the key, value for money. It remains to be seen if the new GLC customers will upgrade to the new one. However, what I can tell you is that Mercedes may have gained the attention of Land Rover and Porsche customers. But is it a better car than the one it's replacing? Of course it is. It is a better car. In the same way, the iPhone 14 is better than the iPhone 13. It's still jam-packed with everything that you could ever want, everything you could ever need. It's just now, the GLC, it comes at a price. So, there you are guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you found that informative, entertaining, or just useful. And like I mentioned earlier in the start of the video, if you have any questions about the GLC, you want to test drive one, or indeed buy one, Mercedes-Benz Hertfordshire, Ken can answer all your questions. Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you. Come and have a look. Now, Gok,
yes.
As we said at the start of the video, as you said in the middle of the video, we've both spent a lot of time with GLCs. Now, would this brand new one be enough to tempt you away from your beloved V6 diesel, great engine by the way, GLC 350D?
Eventually, yes, it will. For the time being, I love that engine. I mean, that car's only done about 45,000 miles, so I still love all the tech in it. It has everything I need. The price of the GLC, which obviously was a massive talking point in the video, for me, it just puts it outside of what we can afford at the moment. So as soon as more cars are available in the used car market, 100% it will be in contention.
Yeah, and indeed they will be. You know, these fly out of the showrooms. We've got pretty good feedback actually from our first customers who've taken them. Very good feedback on the plug-in hybrid, actually. That'd be a very interesting one to check out. But speaking of checking things out, if you want to see more from Gok, then make sure that you are subscribed to Gok's Car Lounge. Have a look at the Porsche 911 video, and I did really enjoy the Audi Q4 e-tron Sportback video that you did as well.
Thank you very much. And likewise, guys, if you are interested in anything to do with Mercedes, make sure you subscribe to Mercedes-Benz Hertfordshire as well. Ken's got some amazing in-depth information about all sorts of cars, so make sure you check those out as well. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank
See
you.
in the next one.
Job done. How about we both get on screen for a full-length video one time? How about that? There we go.
You want to join in?
Bosh. Come on, Sal.